Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. We skipped a day yesterday. Sorry about that. I have not a clue really how to approach or speak to what I'm aware of and what the rest of the world may or may not desire um, to hear. So it gets to be a bit of a challenge, I suppose, between what I'm aware of and what someone else can receive. And that's an entirely other tangent, but is really, really interesting. So, one of the things that I'd learned from the co creator of Access Consciousness, founder of Access, Gary Douglas, is that you can't speak to what people are not willing to hear, which is actually quite interesting. And you'll know this really well if you happen to have either taught or parented or been a teenager. If someone ever came to you and told you what you had to do, how you had to be, how you had to think, what they were expecting from you, etc., how did you react to that? Was it like, oh, thank you so much, I'm going to do this? Or was it like, screw you, you ain't going to tell me what to do? So that's where, when we try to push our perspective on someone, and it may be really well meaning, if there isn't a crack, if there isn't an opening, if there isn't a willingness in their world to receive whatever it is that you'd like to share or explore or speak about or ask about or bring up in any way, shape, or form, they will literally have barriers and barricades up so high that nothing that's different, that nothing that doesn't match their set point of view can come in. And this is actually really interesting. When we live so defended, so barricaded, we have all of our points of view up so high that nothing that does not match them can come into our awareness. We're simply not able to see that anything else could possibly exist because we're so fixated on defining these barriers and barricades. We miss out. We miss out on all the whispers and the possibilities that are around us. We miss out on what else is possible and what else is available. We cut off, as we speak about in Access Consciousness, and you can find links about it, underneath, or go to accessconsciousness.com and you'll find out more there. When we put up barriers and barricades, we are literally eliminating, shrinking, rejecting, receiving. We can't see anything that does not match our points of view. So when our point of view is a little more relaxed, a little more open, a little more interesting, meaning you're not holding on to it rigidly, meaning that you can actually be, like some people describe, a mind can be like an open parachute. The open parachute allows you to land. A closed parachute, generally safely, yeah, you might get tangled in a tree or whatever, but with an open parachute, you'll generally land well. With a closed parachute, you're just going to splat. It's that kind of thing that happens when we're very closed-minded. We just never let that parachute open. We never let ourselves have that softness, that floating, that seeing a bigger picture of what's going on. I remember being in there's a little foresty area, a short walk away from here, and I watch the leafcutter ants. Whenever I walk there, I look down and I watch the ants, and they're really freaking cool. They carry so much more than their own body weight on their back in these little pieces of leaves that they take around. But I could see them, I'm a big human being looking down at the path and looking down at this line of ants that sometimes get flustered by having some obstacle in their way. a rock, a branch, a something, from the bigger picture, from the higher perspective, from being willing to have a parachute that's open and actually floating calmly down, I can see that they just need to walk around, that they don't have to keep getting blocked. They don't have to keep turning. It isn't such a big deal when they take a step back and they can see. I mean, for them, it's kind of hard because they're right in it, right? But they do find a way around. We all find a way around. Sometimes it requires a lot of struggle in life, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of force, a lot of effort, because we don't have the point of view that things could be different. We don't recognize that there is more to this world than meets the eye. We don't recognize that there's something else available to us. This reality that we've been so busy defending one way or the other um, is, you could call it a facade, you could call it a vibrational virtual reality. It's there's so much noise about how we have to be separate, that this is better than that this is different than that. We're all part of oneness. And anywhere where we're shouting and screaming against anyone, where we're not seeing the gift in the being that's in front of us, but functioning from this reactive anger, rage, fury, or hate, we've lost ourselves, our godliness, if you'd like to call it that, our spark of consciousness, our awareness that there's more to us and more to them than meets the eye. We've forgotten that in the face of all the anger, all the rage, all the fury, and the hate. And those are distractor implants. There's a beautiful book from Access Consciousness called Living Beyond Distraction. You can find it on Amazon or on the Access Consciousness website. And it speaks about the distractor implants that take you out of being present in your life. And the first four of those distractor implants are anger, rage, fury, and hate. And if anybody has turned on their TV or their computer or looked at any sort of news sites or anything in the last several months, there is a whole lot of anger, rage, fury, and hate going on in the world. The thing is, when we buy into the anger, rage, fury, and hate, we're no longer being ourselves. We have just walked into this game board of vibrational virtual realities. We have been distracted and kept on this loop of anger, of rage, or fury and hate. And we just keep looping that over and over, rather than being the space of us that's able and willing to see something beyond everything that we've been fed, to tap into what's true here for me. What am I aware of? What's light, expansive when I think about it? All of this angst and all of this intensity? Not mine. Not true. When someone is raging, when someone is hateful, they've gotten lost in the process. They've become the rage monster that they're supposedly raging at. And that's where we have a choice. We don't have to fall victim to anything like that. We can recognize, oh my goodness, I'm going into angry bird mode. I'm going into reaction. I don't have to. I have a choice. I actually have a choice. If I were willing to take a breath, and just like those leafcutter ants in the little foresty area, walk around. How? So many different ways. I can walk away. I can do something that's different, change my space, my energy, my state. I can take a deep breath. I can say, wow, that's an interesting point of view that I have this interesting point of view. I don't have to be that. I can choose something that's different. It gets very loud and is very dense and is very intense. That's part of the seduction of this reality. It tries to pull you back in by force. It tries to give you the answer. It tries to tell you what to think and how to be. And where are you in all of that? What if you tap into a question? What do I know here? What fills me with lightness? What am I aware of that maybe nobody else can see, that maybe nobody else could choose or be? But there's something that's available for each of us if we are willing. There's another tool that you can use that I happen to love. My mother called it the funky chicken. When she was kind of more present with us. She's got dementia, so she doesn't always remember, but we used to do this. And say pock and pod, pock and pod, pock and pod. Why pock and pod? That's the short speak for the Access Consciousness clearing statement. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. You could go to theclearingstatement.com for a full explanation, and there'll be links below wherever you're watching this. But pod and pock is the short speak. So you can notice something that's going on. You can notice frustration coming up. You can notice when people are chanting and screaming and shouting and imposing, literally pushing at you with their energy. And you could do something different. If somebody's directing all of that anger and rage towards you, you could lower your own barriers. Remember all of those defenses that we were speaking about before? You could actually lower them and pull energy massively through those people, through all that shouting, through all that screaming, through all that force that they're directing at you, and just let it go through. Just keep pulling and let it go through and see what happens. Many times it can take the wind out of their sails, which is actually pretty cool. The other thing you can do is just go, whoa, pod and pock, funky chicken time, pod and pock, whatever allows this to exist. So what have we made on this planet so vital, valuable, and real? That intensity and the density of two people coming together and aligning and agreeing on a point of view to create that as quote unquote reality. So what have we made so vital, valuable, and real about creating hate and anger and dislike and prejudice, anger and rage and fury and hate as the rejection of all forms of receiving? And with receiving contribution that keeps you dedicated to maintaining the lie of separation. And everything that doesn't allow that, or everything that is actually times a godzillion, and all of this reality's shit that's involved with that too. Will you destroy and uncreate it all times a godzillion, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. It isn't real. It's a distractor. And the best way, the only way really that you can deal with something that is not real, that is a lie, is to recognize it and go, oh, aren't you cute? I'm not going to let you dictate my life. I'm going to see you, and I'm not going to be you. I can choose something different. What would I like to choose? Helicopter, hang on. That one was a loud one. Okay. I'm not going to let that dictate my life and living because I have a choice. See, the gift of us being us and the gift of us being willing to choose something that's different is that we get to actually change, quote unquote, reality by our willingness to be different, by our willingness to not buy into the lies, but to shine a light on them or to see them and go, that's not me. I'm not choosing that. What do I know here? What would I like to choose? What's going to create greater now? And you can choose it. That's how you don't have a world full of sheeple that are being led literally into more separation, more drama, more trauma, more victimization, more lies. That's how you have people who are aware enough, trust themselves enough, and their knowing and their awareness enough to choose something greater in the world. And we all have that as a possibility. So I encourage you to know that you know, to know that you are part of oneness, a flavor of it, and to just hate another person, another human being, another group of people even, is just silly, really, because you haven't met that one and their story and their perspective and what they would like. Now, that's if you're meeting the person rather than all of the indoctrinated lies that they've been fed for who knows how many generations. But when you actually get to meet the being that's there, you might be surprised at how cool they could be. And what would it take for more of us to actually function from being present, from having some appreciation for our own selves and for others, so much so that we cease buying the lies of hatred and of separation and all the anger, rage, fury, and hate that's been sold to us throughout the generations. That would be pretty freaking amazing. I know Saturday is the 27th of January, and that's the International Holocaust Memorial Day. I'm probably going to go live on that day too, but it's one of those topics that has been really up in my world. And the fact that we all have a choice and sometimes don't realize it is also really up in my world. So what gift are we? What difference have we come to be here in this world, on this planet, right here, right now? That's so required for all of our futures. And we just never noticed yet. We never acknowledged, and we haven't allowed it as of yet. And what would it take if we did? I'm going to go live in just a few moments, not on this, separate. And I'd like to read my parents' testimonies. My parents are both survivors of the Holocaust, and I'm going to read their testimonies individually, one in one video, one in another, because I just really would like that to be available and open and out in the world. So thank you for being here, and thank you for knowing that something else is possible, that we do not have to function from hate, from resentment, from prejudice and dislike. We don't have to perpetrate on future generations the perpetuation of hatred and indoctrination that's been sold to us through the ages. We do have a choice, and our choice does create. So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Thank you, and see you again soon.